Uneventful, man. I fell asleep like at 11:30, dude. Me and my son watched the movie, and we crashed out. Dude. We didn't do shit. We didn't do shit, man. We just crashed out.
My
I
hands
woke up
stable,
today.
I feel able to turn the tables. I can do this. Just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like sort of.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Price, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
You're still muted. I don't know why I can't unmute it. Dang, it's still muted. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. It says I can't unmute.
Why don't y'all say something?
I was trying to. I was trying to hit the mute button. It says can't unmute you.
Oh, okay. I thought Hyman was muted. My bad. My bad, guys. Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Daniel, alongside with me, Big Blue and Hyman. How you guys doing tonight? We'll start off with you, Hyman. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I actually feel like I slept a lot. I fell asleep at 11:30. I didn't even stay up for New Year's. I woke up and I had all these messages.
Oh yeah,
I was tired, man.
Dude, I slept all day too, man. I tried to stay up. I think I fell asleep around about 11, and then I was awoken probably about 10 minutes until about 30 minutes until the countdown. I went outside and my daughters were firing some fireworks, so I got to see the last part of that and do the countdown, but that was about it. What about you, Big Blue? I heard you were getting kind of crazy out there with the fireworks. Do you still have all your digits?
I still have all of them. Yeah, no, we started early, man. Like, not firework wise, but we started like my day started yesterday, like around 9. I think it was my first beer was at 9. We were prepping the meat for the disquera. We had a disquera, and then after that. Prep the meat for the tripitas with my dad. And we had tripitas for dinner, and then pozole for the midnight. And so it was a lot of food prepping yesterday, and then the kids started pumping fireworks like at 7.
Interesting.
But I took a nap. I did take a nap, a power nap, like 8:30 to 10:30. I'm not sitting out there for that long, popping fireworks. So
nice, man, nice. So the problem has been for myself, as far as why I was tired, was I've been myself and Jaime and a couple of our buddies have been going a little bit too hard in the paint when it comes to playing some video games online, and we've been staying up a little bit later than we normally do for our olden age, and so
we passed our bedtime.
Yeah, it's taking a toll. So, but we're getting back into it, and I think we're going to be playing again tonight, but not as late, so it'll be interesting. Well, today, guys, what we're going to be talking about, so we can get into the content, into the topic of discussion. First thing we're going to talk about is going to be in the Bryan Kohberger case. There's been, excuse me, hold on. My dang mic thing is always getting in my way. All right. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the Bryan Kohberger case. There's been a document that has been released since the last time that we spoke. Let me pull it up real quick. And it's nothing too crazy, kind of what we already discussed last year. I can say that already. Last year, probably about a week ago, we were telling you guys that, January 26th was going to be a hearing, for the appeal reconsideration. And well, this is that document, but real quick, Jody comes in with a $9.99 super chat. Finally caught my first live after watching you for over a year, starting 2024 off the right way. Thank you. And thank you for your support. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. So it says, order setting hearings on defendant's motion to reconsider for the permission to appeal on the state's motion for scheduling. Order based on the state's motion for scheduling order filed December 21st, 2023. Defendant sealed motion to reconsider orders denying motions to dismiss indictment and the alternative for permission to appeal from interlocutory orders and a stay of proceedings filed on December 21st, 2023. They got to have another word than that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get out of the source and let me know, because that's a crazy word right there. A hearing on the defendant's motion to reconsider orders denying motions to dismiss indictment and in the alternative for permission to appeal from the interlocutory orders and the stay of proceedings will be heard on January 26, 2024, beginning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The court will hear the arguments pertaining to the sealed order denying motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct. The hearing will be sealed and closed to the public to protect the privacy of the grand jurors, and the grand jury is proceeding at 1. So, hold on. 1 p.m., the court will hear the arguments pertaining to the order denying motion to dismiss indictment for inaccurate instructions to the grand jury. The hearing will be open to the public. The public and the media may attend in person or can watch the live stream via the proceedings and there's a YouTube channel link right here. So we'll be watching that. Covering that. So make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that way you're notified of when we go live and when we'll be covering this hearing. So January 26th, everybody mark your calendars. Scheduling conference will begin following the conclusion of arguments on the defendant's motion. The scheduling conference will be open to the public and live stream in the court's YouTube channel at the link above. So after that, we're going to finally find out when we're going to go to court. Scheduling, right? That's what that means.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm guessing that YouTube channels the judges, right?
Yeah, I think I've been there. I think I'm already subscribed.
Nice.
So yeah, I believe so. Let me click on it. Well, it's not available yet. They tricked us. But I'm sure it'll be available soon. But we'll be able to watch it. That's good to know. I like the fact that I want the court to be open. Let me put it this way. I prefer, for there not to be anything hidden or things like that. You know what I'm saying? It brings up speculation, right? And it makes room for speculation.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see. We have a Micro Kimmy comes in with a $1.99 interlocutory. Wait, what?
That's how you pronounce that word.
All right, let me see. Let me look it up. Let me look at it at the same time. Y'all can't be interlocutory. Yeah. Hey, Blue, you say this, man. It's up to you.
Interlocutory.
All right, there you go, Blue. Every time we come across that word, you're going to be saying it from here on out. All right, my man. That's too many syllables, guys. I got dyslexia. You're going a little too crazy here. Going a little too crazy. We got to calm it down. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, right? That's always been my motto. Keep it simple.
Now I just need to bow.
That's why you're here, my man. That's why you're here. So, what do you guys think? I mean, I think this is just another Hail Mary pass by the defense here. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. By the sound of it, they're going to have scheduling orders immediately after. It sounds like the decision's probably already been made. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. The only thing they can do probably after this is probably bring something else up, but in order for them to prolong the trial date. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to, after that date, I think we're going to know exactly when it's going to start. And that way we can all be ready and see what true evidence or the whole picture of evidence they have.
Yeah. What did I say? My super chat didn't send, but changed my card. It's a new year. You got to make sure you got your cards right. Come on, Steelers fan, making me look bad. All right, so I'm just kidding. For those that don't know, that's the missus. All right, so yeah, I think it's another Hail Mary pass, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think that the judge can easily say, no, you're not going to get your appeal. You know, your right to appeal you can utilize your right to appeal afterwards if you're found guilty. If you're found innocent, then well, you're found innocent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Kimmy comes back in with a 199 super chat. Definition is any appeals made prior to trial. Understood. They should just say that, like, pre-trial appeal. Why do you have to go all crazy? What? Well, thank you, Steelers fan. I appreciate that. I'll be putting out my business like that.
Dogs.
Right? That's what I'm saying. All right, let's put this out here. So the last time we also spoke, the demolition of the house had occurred. And we hadn't really gone into the pictures or the discussed, the demolition and things like that. So let's do that. We'll take that opportunity to do that now. These are some pictures from multiple news sources that I've been able to gather. Obviously, we're in Texas, so we couldn't go out there and take these pictures ourselves. They started early. That's what this tells me. Try to get it done as quick as possible.
Yeah, from what I heard, it didn't take long either.
Yeah, I heard it just kind of fell apart pretty quick.
Yeah.
When it comes to these type of homes that are built that are designed to be built for like rental units,
on budget.
They're on a budget. It's cost effectiveness, not so much as like best of quality, so to speak, within rules and bylaws, of course, obviously. And thank you guys. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. I appreciate that. See any tunnels? Oh.
Nah, they already filled them up.
They filled them up.
Mm-hmm.
They put that quick read in there. But yeah, man, most houses, any house will come down pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in this one, like the walls were pretty thin, man.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
watching some of these, I'm like, whoa, that's. I mean, of course, you got to take in consideration like material-wise. Back in the day, it was a lot better, right? And now it's more. I mean, obviously, they're going to get cost-efficient materials right now. But like from what I saw, it was like super, super thin. Like I'm sure there was a lot of if there was commotion happening, you'll be able to hear that throughout the house.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean these walls here, that kind of looks like that. Oh, thank you, Angel. Appreciate that $2 super chat. Happy New Year, B-Day, and things of that nature. This looks like that paneling stuff type of wall. It's not even like, I don't know. I can't tell from here. Like sheetrock, maybe it is. It's just discolored. I don't know. What do you think, Jaime?
Yeah, wood paneling. That's what it looks to me.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That stuff's very thin. That's like super thin. And this is Idaho. You would expect that, given the temperature, how cold it gets, that you would expect that there'd be some better insulated. It'd be better insulated. What do you guys think?
Yeah, a thicker plywood and insulation. I mean, now they have that spray-on insulation. That one's like super more effective than the old one.
Yeah,
the siding was recently put on because it's got Tyrick on it. And Tyrick, it's built to spec. It just this isn't that old of a house either.
Well, there was additions to the house throughout the years.
Yeah.
So it's been remodeled and updated and things like that. Man, it's just crazy,
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to do it until after the trial. And I was shocked that they decided to do it.
Yeah.
You know, once I heard that the FBI was back and doing their 3D modeling, I knew that. And it was just a matter of a couple of days before it was put out there that they were going to demolish it. And sure enough, ended up being the case.
It had to be written, like signed off on, right? Between prosecution, the defense team, and the judge, right?
Yeah,
No.
I think all three of them would have a say in it. I think that the one of the parties would or would bring it up. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not 100% sure. So disclaimer on this one. But I think one of them brought it up, and the other one didn't. Argue the argument. Now the judge could have still denied it, but chose to not. You know what I'm saying? Mitch Grove comes in and saying the addition was in the 2000. Yeah. All right. Let's see.
That's crazy. Like morning to afternoon, it's gone.
Like the guys that are working there aren't like in hazmat suits or anything. So, you know how they were saying there was so many chemicals and stuff in there that would be dangerous to, breathe and stuff. Now, obviously these guys are, obviously these guys are outside and the jury would have been inside enclosed in the house, but just a observation.
Yeah, they could have aired out the house and opened some doors for a second. It's not that much. It wasn't that much chemicals that they used.
This isn't your mom's fabuloso. Remember
Hey.
my mom used fabuloso on the floor, and that thing will be strong as shit, man.
I mean, look at apartment complexes. They do the cleanups, they do everything, and then when somebody passes away in the apartment complex, and then they're back to rent a couple months later, people are living in it. They don't change the whole AC system out. They just change the filter.
Yeah. Sissy gifted 1 Drunk Turkey Show membership. Make sure, guys, you have your memberships on to receive that. We appreciate that, Sissy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have my gifts off, and I'm pretty sure Steelers fans does not.
She has them on always. And they cleaned it up pretty quick too. I think it was all done within a day. Knock down, clean up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, those jobs are pretty simple nowadays, especially with the equipment they got, man.
Well, that kind of looked like mold.
Yeah. Some water damage.
Yeah, that sure does. It's crazy, man. I honestly didn't think they were gonna demolish it, man. I didn't think it was gonna happen until after the trial, but obviously I was wrong.
Yeah, I felt the same way, man. I thought that especially once we got like a date ish that they're gonna want to go to trial, summer of 2024. It's only 6 months out. Why do this now? And Steve Goncalves brings up a great point. Like, it's not just the interior of the house, it's also what you can see from the exterior. A lot of folks, will look at Bryan Kohberger's phone pings in the PCA and say, that's not accurate. That doesn't say anything. He could have been 27 miles away. Well, when it comes down to trial, they're not going to use that. They're going to use the warrants that they gathered after his arrest for his GPS locations, which are going to put him down to like a foot of where he was. And so if he was in this area 12 times, you're going to want to know exactly where he was standing, where he was sitting, where was his car parked if he was in this vicinity, and what can he see, or what type of view can you have of the house? What type of activity can you see coming in and out, and those type of things. I think that would have been important. I'm shocked that the prosecution wanted to demolish it, especially, I don't care how strong, because I mean, from the sound of it and from what I've heard, it's basically because they think that the case is super strong. But I mean, there's been a lot of cases that people thought were super strong and it didn't go their way. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. What do you guys think, man? Do you think that this was a little premature? Is this going to bite them in the rear later on?
I think it was, but I don't think it. I have confidence that they do have enough to pursue a guilty charge, verdict. But I think them taking it down like they did before the trial is going to affect also, the vantage points that this person had, the suspect had from certain locations. It could help, but I just hope there's enough because if it comes down to the house itself, if there's more evidence or more of a theory from the defense using the house, and they can't use it anymore, even with the 3D models, then that's gonna be a big problem.
Right. I mean, the argument is going to be how much you can hear, right? Now, I'm sure they've done some tests, but that's not going to be the same, than them being out there. And even if they put them in a model and they try to replicate noises and things like that, in a juror's mind, I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, how old was the house? With those materials, relative to what they're using now, is it possible it was even thinner and it was easier to hear things? I mean, it could. I don't know if it would prove anything or say that it wasn't Kohberger by saying that there was more noise that you could or couldn't hear. I think that just kind of is a tool to try to, discredit Dylan's testimony or Dylan and Bethany as witnesses because it took them 8 hours to make, the 911 call, which, for those that are listening here on, the Savannah Soto case, what we'll be talking about here in a little bit, there's a report that she was yelling for help and in her apartment complex and no one called 911. So, those things, I don't know, those things happen. A lot of people think that they would do something different in those moments. And I'm sure most people would, but I don't know what situation she was in, but that's the only thing that you can possibly take from the sounds is that Dylan should have heard something and should have called 911 sooner. Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's one of the things I think that they're gonna lose is with it being torn down is the sounds of what she could have heard and the
Right.
sounds of maybe somebody screaming for help. Because I know that they did take their 3D printing and they're gonna maybe do a replication of somewhere inside a building. I know they do that sometimes where they like rebuild the little house or
Right.
so they might be able to get a good I guess format of how everything was, but the sound is one of the main things that they can't get right.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Emma.
No, I think the best thing would have been just use the real house. Why create something and maybe it's not going to be exactly like the house it was, and take that risk of letting jurors witness or even hear certain sounds when it's not going to be the same as the original.
Right. Well, we do have sound. We know what it sounded like from outside of the house. And we know that because there's a Ring audio or Ring camera footage that detected audio from the house, and there wasn't any screams or things like that. Maybe perhaps the prosecution's angle at this is if we don't show them how, somebody could hear something from inside the house, and we only show the jury, how there's a lack of sound from outside the house, then maybe perhaps the jury can connect the dots that somebody could have been confused by the noise. So maybe this does kind of work in the benefit for the prosecution. What do you think about that angle of it?
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. But like, how the what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, like the comment, I think it was Angel, right? That said it doesn't really matter. The sound really doesn't matter if they have a lot more on them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the least of his problems, I believe.
Yeah.
And then in a lot of cases, they never really take the jurors back to the sign of the crime because it's either somebody else moved in already or, it's rented to somebody else and the case is already, I guess, set because they found the evidence another way. But with this one, the only thing it makes is the difference of the testimony of what the girls could have heard inside the room. That's the only difference. But they could have done their own video recordings and sound testings inside the house to see
That's
if
true.
you can hear anything, and they can put that into evidence too.
Yeah, that's true. It's just something I guess the masses, everybody that's got any type of interest in this case, it's just something I think that everybody felt like this was a big piece of evidence, regardless if you thought he's, guilty or innocent or somewhere in between. I think everybody could agree that this was a piece of evidence that nobody wanted to see go away, so close as well. I mean, it really does kind of paint a pretty bad picture, in my opinion, of the University of Idaho. First and foremost, they're pushing back the court, trial until the summer, so that way it doesn't affect their, um, their college and stuff like that. Which I understand the logistics behind it, but you also have a guy that's sitting in jail longer. What if he is innocent and you can prove it? You're gonna just hold him off in jail longer, a couple extra months, just because you want to make sure that the roads are clear for the college students. I don't know if that's a valid enough, thing. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you guys think on that?
I mean, I think they want to push back the summer just because there's less people in the town that can. I don't think it's more about the college. I think it's more about the town.
No, they came out and they said that the reason it was on the court documents, the reason they want to push it till the summer so it doesn't interfere with the college and it doesn't interfere with the high school that's not that far away from the courtroom. That's specifically why they don't want to have it done during the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I think it is going to attract a lot of media attention. But I think by then, if they push it out so far, it won't attract as much as it was before. It's dying down a little bit.
Micro Kimmy says, Bill said it would be against Idaho law to walk through. I don't know. It could be. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I haven't heard that before, but maybe.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think them pushing it to spring is just like Blue said. It's gonna be a media circus, man. I mean, it's super high profile. I mean, I understand that during classes there's gonna be a lot of traffic. Accidents are gonna be happen if there's media everywhere. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of media on there. So I understand that they're pushing it towards spring. When classes are out and it's not so busy.
Summer.
It's summer, man.
And then change the venue. I mean, I don't think you should risk or violate anybody's rights. Everybody here in the live chat probably knows. I think that they got their guy, but at the end of the day, I'm for your constitutional rights. If this guy ends up, having something come trial that says it wasn't him, you're gonna make somebody sit even longer behind bars for something they didn't commit. Change the venue. If the venue doesn't work, change it. You're already going to have to bring in another jury from somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do that here or there in Moscow. It's going to have at the very minimum that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well just change it to wherever that is. I'm pretty positive there are some towns out there in Idaho that aren't, connected to a college. Pretty sure that most of them are. Know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what the first thing that when it first happened and we heard about the arrest and everything, like that was one of the main things we talked about. It's like, how come they didn't change the venue?
Yeah.
If they knew they were gonna make the trial here and the college and everything's gonna be hectic at the time, they wouldn't have this problem right now where they have to move it up later on in the year. That way it doesn't interfere with classes or school or high school and the university.
Yeah, I think the only other reason I think that they were pushing more towards summer too is because the end of the year graduations in May. If there's the court dates around that time, you get families that come visit and stay in hotels. There won't be any. Remember, we were thinking about going that first time for his first case. None of the hotels in town had openings. They were all booked. I think
But
that's a good time to avoid.
it's only scheduled for 6 weeks. Put it in March. You know, last 2 weeks of March to run through April. Have it done by May. You don't have to worry about those things. You know, you can do it in February. I mean, at the end of the day, everything up to this point has been argued as far as what's going to be in trial and what's not going to be in trial, right? And the defense has gotten the information that they're going to get. Whether there's more information out there to be gotten, or if the FBI doesn't have any more, or they destroyed it, or whatever the case may be, and that evidence isn't used against Kohberger. So there's no reason to be, to have this held on any longer, right? Everything's been set. They've had their time. Let's go to court. Let's figure this out. You know, you can probably do something in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and start this thing at the end of February. You know, it doesn't have to be the spring. It definitely doesn't have to be the summer. It can be sooner. That's all I'm saying. You'd be surprised how many locals have no clue what's going on. They didn't even know why the road was blocked. Oh, wow. I mean, I can understand that. I mean, there's a case that we're fixing to start talking about here in a second, Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra. And, you know, there's quite a few people here in San Antonio that aren't aware of that case. However, that case is getting attention across the globe. No room on the docket for March. Well, maybe, yeah. That's the other thing. There has to be time for it. So it is what it is. I'm sure they'll work out the logistics on it. But if it ends up happening in the summer, so be it. Happen in the summer. I just hope there isn't anything else that's going to push it out any further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the one thing I thought was pretty interesting was they were showing yesterday, or this morning, interesting countdowns for New Year's, and Idaho made the list because they dropped down a huge potato. Like, it was a fake potato, but they count down instead of being a ball. It's a huge potato.
Nice.
Good fireworks show.
Nice.
Did they drop it into a tube?
It dropped into a batter of lard, fryer.
Something tells me, Blue, you're not being 100% truthful on this story that you're talking about.
I'm talking about the potato part's true. It's a big. It's the part where it was in the fryer. No, that's not true.
All right.
The whole state will be smelling like a big old French fry.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's transition to our other story of the day that we're going to be talking to, and this one again is going to be local to us. Myself and Big Blue have been to the scene. I've been to the apartment complex as well, and where this has occurred, this incident, or where the last time that Matthew and Savannah were last seen. And just like the chief said, it's very perplexing. And today what we want to talk about is, kind of figure out what the police know and when they know it, and try to make sense of a few things. And I guess, there's no better way to start than, give me 1 second, then we'll bring up the most recent press conference that we talked about. There's a few things that are said in the press conference that I think are interesting, and I want to discuss with you guys.
District Attorney Joe Gonzalez says.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is the wrong one. This is the second one that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at this one in a moment. This is the one. My bad. My mistake, guys.
Savanah Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra were reported missing by Leon Valley on 12/23/23. A clear alert was issued for Savannah by DPS because it met the criteria for a clear alert to be issued. CLEAR stands for the state's Coordinated Law Enforcement Adult Rescue Alert Program. Families of both victims reached out to SAPD on the 23rd to make a police report, but we had learned that Leon Valley had already taken a missing person report. Savannah and Matthew resided in Leon Valley's jurisdiction, and were last seen in Leon Valley. Therefore, Leon Valley was the reporting jurisdiction. Officers did document details provided by the family members under an SAPD information report. On the 26th, at about 4 o'clock, SAPD was called to assist Leon Valley PD at 5903 Danny K. Leon Valley was requesting assistance. Families of both victims were at the location and reported Leon Valley PD that earlier in the day, they received information that the missing gray Kia Optima was at the Danny K address. When police arrived, they discovered 2 people in the Kia. EMS was called to the scene, and they pronounced both victims at the scene. It appeared that the vehicle had been located at that location for several days. The medical examiner had identified 22-year-old Matthew as one of the deceased victims in the vehicle, and he died from a gunshot wound to the head. The manner of that death is still pending.
That's where I kind of wanted to get to. Why do you think the manner of his death is still pending? Like, you know, and what that means is whether he took his own or whether somebody took his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the manner in which, and that's what that means. This was here recently. This was a press conference where they released the footage of 2 vehicles meeting at the back of that apartment complex. We were back there. It's directly behind it. There's like 7 different cameras in there. There's cameras all over the place. They got footage of these 2 vehicles from probably quite a distance. I just want to say that real quick. But, you know, these 2 cars met up in the back. There was an exchange, and the vehicle goes and parks, right? Why do they assume that or think that there's a possibility that he did it to himself still?
Probably the angle of the wound. Maybe where he was sitting, where he was supposed to be sitting, maybe the driver's seat, maybe the angle of the wound, maybe the way the wound is and where the bullet exited could tell you a little bit more, you know, if it's from someone else or self-inflicted.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the wound or the angle. First and foremost, it was supposed to be it's been, I guess, confirmed, and I know that Chief McManus is going to confirm it a little bit later in this press conference, that that it was a contact wound, and that it doesn't sound like that's the same thing for Savannah. It sounds like she was also struck, you know, in the head, but it doesn't sound like the gun was up against her skin like it was to Matthew. So that could be a reason. But you have to remember, his vehicle was locked, no gun, no keys, no phones. You know, I don't know if anything else was taken from the car. If, you know, the theory could be that maybe he did it to himself and somebody broke into the car, took the items, and then put it back together or left. I mean, locked it up and left, right? But they have this video that shows somebody else driving the car, and you know what I'm saying? So that's the confusing part. But I wanted to read this real quick. This was by somebody anonymous the other day on the about 5 days ago on the Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra case discussion. It says, regarding what the blood cousin said, it makes sense. So Savannah was in the front passenger seat, found with the car seat tossed on her. So I believe that she was shot first. Then they pulled Matthew out of the driver's seat and moved him to the back seat from the rear driver's seat. Oh, you know what? I think I read this wrong. I thought it said something different. See, what I thought it said was that Matthew was pulled after he was passed from the front seat to the back seat. Because that's what I've heard as being, you know, the rumor. I was about to say somebody needs to go talk to this person because how do they know this? But from what I understand is that that it was Matthew's body was pulled from the front seat to the back seat is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
How does that say that he took his own life too? What are your thoughts on that? We'll start off with you, Big Boog.
Yeah, I'm trying to having my neighbors are still public park, so yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's just somebody moved him after the fact, after he would have been passed. But the thing is, they would. They would have found the gun. They would have found. I mean, I haven't seen any crime scene photos. Like if there's blood all over the one side of the car, all that matters. You know what I mean? What
Mhm.
if there was any exit wounds or what size caliber was?
Well, here's what we do know. We do know that on the night of the 22nd, that both Matthew and Savannah got into an argument, right? We know that sometime during that night that they both left in his Kia. From what I understand, there's some ring cam footage out there showing them both going to the car by themselves, right? And then from what I understand is they go missing at that point. Nobody knows where they're at. The next morning, when they can't get a hold of them, Savannah's family goes out to the apartment complex, finds it unlocked, and inside are guns, marijuana, and money. Let's go back to the ring cam. It didn't seem like they were leaving by force. They left on their own, right? Whether they were, urgently leaving or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But why, if you're going to go meet up somebody, because a lot of people are saying that it's a drug deal gone bad or things of that nature. If you're going to go meet up with somebody, you're going to leave your house unsecured like that. How does that make sense? How does that fit in this puzzle?
Yeah, especially especially in the big city, like San Antonio. I mean, maybe here in small little towns, you don't have that fear as much. But I mean, you still lock it. But for them to leave it unlocked, and what they call them in a big city like that, especially because some of this camera footage has been showing a lot of people going in and out through that, house or apartment, right?
Well, I don't know where that footage is from and who those people are, even if they're connected or not. That could be in my opinion, that could be some random. No. Okay, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
There's a lot of people saying there's.
Yeah. We're gonna get to that. Savannah's mom found the door unlocked. She locked the door after, and then after that, Matt's dad came and kicked the door. But the reason why it was locked was because Savannah's mom had gone over and found it open, and then she locked it. But that was already while they were missing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then not only that, but like the thing is, like, also when you said they were fighting, and I remember you telling something about she was saying help or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was on some UK news site that said that she was yelling for help and nobody called 911. I don't know how accurate that UK site is.
And that's the thing, man. Nowadays, everybody just kind of keeps to themselves. They don't want to get into into someone else's business nowadays, man. And it sucks, because sometimes a lot of people are not so fond of the police being in their neighborhoods and stuff. They don't want to be questioned and put on the spot. And that sucks because let's say they would have called police right then and there. You could have helped. The outcome could have been a different outcome.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or anything like that. I don't know very many people who would get involved in anything, especially if there was some sort of a possible drug connection. That's going to scare a lot of people from getting involved in any way or shape or form. And it's unfortunate, but nobody wants to be have some retaliation sent back on them for saying or speaking up. That's just the reality of what it's like on so close to the border, and when you do have cartel members and you do have certain affiliates that are willing to do something or willing to take they're put things in their own hands, just so to say. And so there's a lot of people that don't speak up. It's pretty common, to be honest with you. It's unfortunate and it shouldn't be that way, but there is a real danger sometimes, and which kind of brings me to a point. I've gotten a couple of messages, and some people are saying that speculation and things are going crazy. They are, and just be careful, because I don't know, man. I just would hate the wrong thing to be put out there and then somebody else get hurt and it really not have anything to do with anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because that can happen in this situation, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no,
You know,
but to me, I think the way his body was positioned in the back, I think it was placed there. So I think this might have happened somewhere else.
maybe.
But it's
I
crazy.
mean,
I mean, I haven't heard anything because they said I know y'all did a show on Friday about it, and I was at a quinceañera Friday, so I didn't get too much of the information that day. So I don't remember. They found them without pants on too, right? Like,
no, that was one rumor, and that's one thing I'm glad you bring that up. There's been a lot of rumors that have come out, whether somebody was in the trunk, somebody was tied up, somebody was in the back seat with their pants down, and from my understanding, the majority of those things are inaccurate. He was in the back, she was in the front. His pants were sagging; they weren't down. He was sagging. Apparently, if my thought, and this is my own speculation and my own theory here, is, if, let's just say, somebody was behind them and committed the crime in the car from behind, and it would be easier and less suspicious to grab Matthew if he was driving from the driver's seat and pull him through the back that way, versus pulling a body out of the car and then throwing him in the back seat. It'd be a lot less suspicious. And if his body is being pulled between the two seats, I can see if he's already sagging and his pants are loose, they may even go down further.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where I think, we're going to end up finding out the position there. Now, the thought that I came up with, as far as maybe perhaps if it ended up being a situation where it was he took her life and then his own, maybe perhaps somebody found him and cared about him, didn't want something out there like this about him, and moved him into the back seat, dropped the car off, took the gun, phones, and maybe perhaps, and left it at that. But that's the only way I can think of them thinking that it was a possible situation where he took his own life, and we still have the truck. We still have these two people, possibly three people at the scene. That's the only way that on kind of is possible, in my opinion. I'm not saying that's what happened either. I don't know what happened, but I think that if you're going to say that that's the possible explanation, I think that's pretty much the only explanation I can come up with. What do you guys think?
Did we ever find out when that video was taken? The one with the truck showing up, like time, date? What?
No, but Chief McManus said that the vehicle had been there for 3 to 4 days. It was found the 26th. They went missing the 22nd. So I'm assuming it was probably immediately right after they left their apartment complex. It's still nighttime from that video.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's sometime between, the time that, they're last arguing in that apartment complex and the next morning.
Yeah, because that like we were talking about it last time, that would have told us a lot more, you know what I mean? Especially because there's so many rumors, man. Like the rumors are the ones that are just kind of like, they're out there, and then we hear about them and like, oh, it kind of makes sense, and then we go back and we hear another rumor, and it's like, maybe not. And it gets to a point where it's like, damn, like especially in like some of these groups that we watch, you can hear a whole lot of rumors about this case, in which we haven't heard a lot from, from the law enforcement.
Just by putting some of the evidence together, it seems that there's got to be at least a third person or more. That were in the car.
Well, I don't know about in the car, but you have the person that stepped out of the car and the two people in the truck. So at least 3 people were aware.
Yeah. I mean, if she was on the night before that, I think those guys would have scattered off quicker, seeing that. But then, the car seat thrown on top of her makes it look like.
But the thing is about the car seat stuff is that's not been confirmed. Neither has the right ear, behind the right ear on both victims, has been confirmed. From my understanding, none of those things have been confirmed. The only thing that's been confirmed was that he was in the back seat, she was in the front seat. Now, is it possible there was a car seat on her? Maybe. Now, we had seen a video or the first press conference that came out by Chief McManus. It was at night, right? And they hadn't gotten the bodies out of the vehicle yet. And they did a little bit later, or they had just done it. It was at dark at nighttime. And in fact, Nina, who we had on the show last week, who's part of the search and rescue SATX, who were the group that was notified of the location of the vehicle. She said that she had stayed out there until nighttime, very late, and that's when she had seen some of the bodies being moved out of the car. So, you know, but I do want to say that the weird thing is that, you know, the torture, the rumor of somebody being tied up or both of them being tied up, the rumor of the trunk, all those came from like family members of Matthews. And I just thought that was odd, you know, because they kind of contradict each other sometimes. I think there was one rumor that he was in the front and she was in the back. I think that was the one where they said that they were tied up, that she was tied up in the back and then that she was in the trunk. But the suspicious thing to me also is that Nina told us that she had spoken to somebody that they had reported seeing the Kia in 78217, which I think is on the northeast side of San Antonio, the complete opposite side of where this vehicle was found. That they claimed to have seen the vehicle and that they chased it. They got the license plate number and they had confirmed that it was it. However, the next day, vehicle's found. McManus says vehicle's been there 3 or 4 days. It's impossible. What do you think about those two things right there?
Yeah, it sounds fishy at best, you know, especially knowing that they're saying that the car's been parked there for several days, and then someone coming up and saying that they were chasing it and they lost track of it. I mean, could it be another vehicle that they thought it was theirs? Maybe, but
yeah, so they're pretty popular little cars.
But I mean, if it's family members, they're gonna know exactly what that car.
I didn't say it was family members.
No, I'm saying like if it was like if they knew the car, if they knew.
I just wanted to share. I didn't say that.
No, if they, well, I mean, after they found it, obviously the family members knew that it was that car. But the one that we're chasing, if they knew exactly what they were looking for, like if they knew if they give out that the description of the vehicle plus the license plates, I mean, there would have been a big difference, you know. Oh, it's like, the license plate matches and everything. And if they were chasing it, that'll be, oh damn. But for them saying that they was sitting there for several days, and then someone coming and saying that they were chasing the vehicle like the night before, right? I think it was the night before, you said?
Yeah.
The day before?
Yeah, that it was the night before they found it. In fact, it was on or Search and Rescue SATX's Facebook that they were going to be looking in that area of the 78217 zip code, looking for the vehicle that they had. Credible, sources saying that they seen the vehicle in that area.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Watch. Did you see what he did? The guy in the green. Guy in the green. Let's see. Let me see if he goes. Let me rewind it a little bit further back. So he's pointing at something right there. I think they're talking about. What? You see how he went like that? He's talking about the body going limb, and after, and obviously, it's telling us a little bit about the position.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But that's the other thing too, like the angle. What if there's, like, for instance, blood splatter on the roof of over the driver's seat, and you have, them driving. That would make things very difficult to determine. And I don't know that that's the case. I'm just saying.
Or even bullet holes, man. Like the bullet holes too would tell a story. So, I mean, it also depends on, like Bruce said, that the caliber. Smaller caliber probably wouldn't exit. Like a 22 wouldn't exit. I don't think it would exit. I think it would just bounce around. Maybe close proximity to the back of the head, but I think the 22 would just, bounce around in there. I
Yeah.
don't think it'll leave an actual bullet hole in the window or maybe even in the top of the car.
Yeah, and that's if their life was taken in the car. I mean, there is
Yeah.
that possibility that, and very well could be that they met somewhere else, and a deal gone wrong. Their lives were lost. So I don't know. I mean, does it sound like MO of a to me, it would seem like they're sending a message if this was drug affiliated. What's the message of the vehicle being found in this alleyway? You know what I mean? Typically, the message when it comes to like cartel type of stuff is pretty loud and clear. They'll leave in my opinion, from what I've heard, this car would have been found at the location of somebody, whoever the message was for. But I don't know, man. It's just weird. Why would the cart? I'm not even saying it's a cartoon. Why would whoever took his life? Why would they move them to this location? Is what I'm trying to say.
Tony's at a light in that time here. Those are signal lights.
Yeah, that's signal light.
But I'm gonna take off, guys. I can hear my neighbors still think it's New Year's. The fireworks going. I got to work tonight. And I came in.
All right, Blue, you have a good one.
Yeah, have a good day.
So, Jaime, what do you think? What do you think? Why would, let's just say they met up somewhere, why would they move the car or any of those things?
Yeah, like if it was drug related, you mean?
Yeah. Like, let's just say that this was a drug related incident. They go, there's been rumor, speculation of a bunch of things. Let's just say one of them is true, and they walk into an ambush, so to speak, mm-hmm. Right? And their lives are taken because of those reasons. Why are they putting them back in their car and driving them to somewhere in San Antonio? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
I mean, if it was drug related and they were out of the car and actually got shot out of the car,
yeah.
If anything, I don't think they will put them back in the car. I think if anything, they were gonna move the body somewhere secluded within mm-hmm. the vicinity that happened. But I don't think they would. I don't think they would touch the car. I don't see why they would. I mean, you leave more evidence. You have the risk of leaving so much evidence.
Right,
moving bodies and moving a car, and there's cameras everywhere, man. Now, and not only right. that, your phones that can track you pretty much. So, like, taking that risk, I don't think that would be the case.
Yeah, and why put them inside the car? Why not put them in the trunk?
Yeah.
They literally, or in the back seat, they put, from what we understand, one of them was found in the front seat. So that kind of makes me believe more than anything that this crime occurred, their lives passed in that car. Right? I mean, we can kind of deduce that that's probably what happened.
Yeah. And on that picture that's on the thing, is that a gunshot hole on the top corner of the windshield?
Right here?
Yeah.
It could be, man, but there was some trees there. It could also be bird crap. Because there looks like there's some right here in the front too. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna go look at this. I have some pictures from up top. I don't recall if there was shattered glass, but there could be.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, I think we can deduce that their lives were taken inside of this car. It wouldn't make any sense to put them there. I mean, even if you take their lives somewhere else and you dump them, you put them in why are you going to put them inside? If you get pulled over for any reason or whatever the case may be, you're caught right then and there. You know what I mean? So yeah, you put them in the trunk and I don't know if you leave the car in a neighborhood. I think you'd probably find it somewhere in an open field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Texas has a lot of that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. So, the next thing that probably tells me is that the crime was probably committed close by here, not too far away. Mm-hmm. Given the fact that Helotes isn't very far from here. And going out to Helotes is a lot of land that they could have disposed the vehicle, disposed the bodies, everything. Right. So, I mean, even Medina, going out towards Medina Lake, that's not very far from Leon Valley.
It's
It's
pretty
just
smooth.
maybe a couple, and there's no water out there anymore. So, one, the ground is soft if you wanted to just, keep it hidden. And two, nobody's out there. You know what I'm saying? So, why this neighborhood? Why here?
Yeah. I
And
mean, you said they took the phones and the keys, right? That they couldn't find the keys. Is that it? Is that right?
yeah, they didn't find the keys, the phones, or the gun.
Or the gun.
Mhm.
But I know Matthew will wear a lot of jewelry. I don't know if
Mhm.
they took any jewelry.
I don't know. That wasn't.
You know what
I
I mean?
wasn't aware of if there was any of those things taken or not. But let's
Mhm.
just say that there's not. Right. Well, let's put it back to this. Supposedly, if this was some sort of drug deal gone wrong, why didn't they go back to Matthew's house that was unlocked and picked up the guns and the money and the marijuana?
Yeah. True.
Why didn't that happen?
Probably because it wasn't that. This wasn't part of the. That wasn't the plan. I think there was something different. I don't know. Maybe. And even if it was retaliation, you would try to take something, right? Why take the phone? That's like the worst thing you could take, I think.
Yeah. Unless he, like I said, I mean, the other thing is it goes back to the ME and how San Antonio, for some reason to this point, hasn't ruled his passing either a homicide, and it's still unknown with the possibility of it being self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes back to that, if let's just say, and I'm just gonna throw out something random. Let's just say blue, I don't want to use blue. Let's just say somebody were to call. I'm going to take everybody out of it so that the way there's nothing there. There's a guy named John, and John is having some, problems domestically with his wife, and he ends up committing a crime like this, and he calls somebody he knows and trusts, whether it's a family member, a friend, a cousin, a neighbor. I don't know. I'm not going to point at anybody, but he calls somebody he trusts, says, "This is what I did. I'm going to, take my own." Right. And, this person's like, "No, don't do that. Don't do that. Where you at? Blah, blah, blah." Finds out where they're at, heads in that direction, gets there. It's too late. Right. This person loves this guy, is close to this guy, chooses to, pull him into the back seat, drive the car somewhere, and just kind of take some things out of there. That way he doesn't go down as a murderer. I mean, that's the only thing that makes logical sense, to think that it's that explanation. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know. And like I said, I'm not saying that that's the case. I think that there's still like an 80 to 85% chance that, what do you call it? This probably is some sort of drug related thing. I mean, everything is there for it. You have, the telegrams that we've seen where he's publicly showing how much money and drugs that he has. I just find it odd that somebody take his life and that be the motive, and that not be taken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's also a lot of rumors that he had a lot of enemies as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. But in the the drug game, you'll make more enemies than friends. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. And a lot of people they'll be jealous of where you're at if you end up getting into a situation where you're making some decent amount of money, which by all indications it kind of looked like he was. So like I said, there's a lot of possibilities here. I mean, Chief McManus said that it was perplexing.
Mhm.
I think it is. I mean, we don't know all the information, obviously, or the evidence.
Yeah.
I just, the thing is, when I feel that the longer this goes, though, without somebody being brought in for something, I think the possibility of this being somebody close to Matthew, who drove the car and did all this after he or she discovered them, I think is less likely, right? Because I think that they probably would have found that connection pretty quickly. So the longer it takes, the more likely that this was probably some sort of drug deal gone wrong, or I don't know. It could be a lot of things. It could be a robbery, a carjacking, a kidnapping. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to wait to see what else, what other video they have, because I'm sure they have a lot. And you said there was like 7 or 8 cameras out there.
Oh, and that's just at the apartment complex.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood alone, like leading up to that area, there are a tremendous amount of cameras, which made me believe that these people that dropped this vehicle off, they're familiar with the area, but they probably only visited the area late at night. I would assume that there's probably this area is probably known for like where drug deals to happen. I mean, that back area where the car was found is real out of the way. Like you can't see it. There's no lights back there. So at night, it'd be very difficult to see. This is the back far right corner of the apartment complex. Not very many people are driving through there. There are multiple other exits that are easier accessible and faster to get in and out of than going through back here. So I can see that being a spot where people go, hey, let's meet up there. This we're going to meet up, and hand things off on small quantities. Large quantities of stuff that happens probably in some warehouse somewhere, but small quantity or somebody just kind of hooking somebody up or whatever, I can see it being done in that alleyway. And these individuals, if they use that alleyway, I can see how they would be familiar with that area. But for them not to know that there was cameras there tells me either they resided there before the cameras were up there, or they didn't live there.
Yeah, that's what it sure sounds like.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. And there's a lot of debate on what kind of vehicle it is, whether it's a Chevy, whether it's a Ford. It looks like a Chevy to me. It looks like you can see the Chevy bow tie on the back, but
yeah, me too.
It is it's a very grainy video, so I don't know. Could be.
And I'm sure they have a lot more too, so that they haven't released. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out.
Yeah. Do we know if this was the location Matthew used for his deals? I'm not sure. And the thing is, when it comes to like criminal activity such as that, it's going to be the probability of somebody coming forward and saying, "Oh, I used to buy drugs from Matthew there in that alleyway," is highly unlikely. You know what I'm saying? That's probably one of the biggest hurdles in an investigation like this, where you have the possibility of witnesses being conducting themselves in criminal activity. It doesn't typically lead to the most cooperation. And so, you know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of like gang related crimes go unsolved. It's not because, law enforcement don't want to solve it or anything like that. It's the willingness of those that have information, or the unwillingness, should I say, of those that have information. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, most of the gangs, talking to law enforcement is like breaking the code, and no one want to do that.
Yeah, and territorial dispute. Yep, that could figure in. It's possible, but I don't know. I don't think this crime happened at this place or in the back. I think that when we see that vehicle pull up to the Chevy or the Ford truck, whatever it is, I think that they've already passed. But I think it's possible that it wasn't too far away. Where they lost their lives wasn't too far away from this area. I don't see somebody driving around with two corpses very far.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They try to get rid of that real quick, especially if you're driving the damn car.
Yeah.
They're looking for.
Yeah. But, let's see.
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I hope that, like you said, the faster they can, get evidence and find the person, the better. But at this point, it just looks like it might take a little bit longer than we anticipated.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Seashells Prosperity comes in saying someone will snitch, but how criminal is the apartment building? How much is the rent? Do apartments have cameras or neighbors? Yeah, everybody got cameras there. And I noticed that the house's close proximity to that apartment complex had some cameras. And I've noticed that some of those cameras were facing in the direction of the apartment complex. I went and looked at the reviews to the apartment complex, and what I could find was a lot of positive stuff, but it kind of made me think to a certain extent that maybe it was like faculty or something like that from, fluffing some of those reviews, because hidden in there were, people complaining about possible drugs and drug dealings and criminal activity that occurs in that apartment complex. But, you wouldn't be able to tell by the looks of the exterior of the apartment complex. I think they go for $1,200 a month also, by the way. But from the exterior, it's been remodeled, from what I understand. The location in which this happened, the surrounding area, doesn't appear to be, run down or anything. It actually seems quite the opposite. It's fairly nice, and I like the trees out there. I mean, it's inside the loop of 1604, so I prefer to be outside, but it's a nice area. I like the trees. I have a thing for trees. I like big trees that get a lot of shade, and those older kind. That's just personal preference.
Right. That's the thing with the apartment complexes, because like you don't. I mean, I'm sure they do background checks on everybody, right? In order for them to, like, certain complexes, you can't have a certain felony or stuff like that, right? But that they don't take into account, like, they can bring people over and stay there,
Yeah.
Well, some of these people that can stay there can be felons.
Oh yeah, there's ways around it. There's ways around it to get around, those backgrounds and stuff like that. And then also it also depends, like on what the background is. It typically would have to be, I think, something violent is why somebody wouldn't be able to get into an apartment complex. But then again, there are some apartments that allow that. And, and those end up being some apartment complexes that you're finding people that are unable to get, apartments for a reason. And I'm not talking about financially. If it's all behavioral, you're probably going to have an apartment complex with some problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's the problem. That's the problem with apartment complexes, especially that close together.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who's living next to you. Could be a drug dealer or a serial killer. I don't know.
Yeah.
TJ
comes. Yeah, I know you're right. TJ comes in and says, wouldn't there be blood dripping from the car? We went out there, me and Blue. We took pictures of the. Let me see if I still have them. I might. Let me exit this real quick. We took pictures of the ground. We didn't find anything that showed that there was blood anywhere near or around that area. Let me find them real quick. Yeah, me and old Big Blue went out there a couple of days ago.
You didn't pick me up, so
you weren't on the way. It would have taken me 4 hours. This guy. I'm not sure if I have it. I hope I didn't delete it. I know I have it on a folder somewhere. But we took pictures of the ground. We found some glass and things like that on the ground, which made me believe that that the window was probably broken to make entry into the vehicle, which told me that the keys weren't there. McManus said it was perplexing, so I had said that the phone and the gun were probably missing. All those things ended up coming to light. You can go check those out. We talked about it when we covered it early on. But yeah, we didn't see any blood. We saw glass, and we saw where they towed the vehicle back a little bit. We saw where all the cameras were. There are a tremendous amount of cameras in that area.
So they had to break the window to get in?
That's what I understand. That's what Nina also told me, that she thought that they had to break the driver's side window to get into the locked car. I don't know if they had to break it, if not just kind of like do something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I don't know if it was broken by accident when they were trying to get into it. Because the way they get into those type of cars is you put a wedge at the top and then
you pop,
you pump it.
you pump it.
But sometimes I don't know if this was like one of those frameless type of doors. Those sometimes can kind of chip at the top or break at the top. Yeah, the ones that don't have a framing is basically against the window.
Where was this glass located? If that car was there, where were the glass that you saw?
It was located to the left side of the vehicle, so on the driver's side.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah.
I know we saw that video with the truck pulling up, and we figured out that the glass was still intact at that point. So I can see them breaking to get in.
Yeah, I mean, it looks intact from that video. There's been a lighter video that's been pulled up, and there is definitely something hanging there. It's not a reflection. Somebody cleared it up, brightened it up, and enhanced the video, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it looks weird, man. It looks weird. Kimmy comes in with a $10 super chat saying, "I believe it was an ongoing beef with a circle of people. They went to a fake deal and got ended. Matthew posted on Telegram that he was re-upping that went missing that day." Yeah, no, I'd seen that. And that's kind of like I said, he wasn't hiding what he was doing. He was very open about his activity and his and the money and what he was making and the entire thing. So it's very well quite possible that ends up being the case.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I know people that are in the game, and these people do not flaunt their money like the younger generation has.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's a real good picture.
Yeah.
I don't see anything like that. Yeah, it probably was the trees, the shadows, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't see anything shattered here. And
looks like
I can't tell, man. It looks kind of jacked up here at the top.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It looks kind of jacked up, but damn, you have anything else?
I'll look here in a second. The top of that window there look kind of jacked up.
Yeah, the side mirror is perfectly fine.
Yeah, the side mirror is fine. Yeah. Huh. It has a frame, so they didn't have to. They shouldn't have had to break it in.
Yeah, they would have.
Shouldn't have broken it.
Yeah. Use that wedge. Yeah.
And I don't know, but yeah, that window does look a little jacked up here. But when it comes to like windows like this, if there's tint and it gets shattered, it'll stay intact. Yeah, because the tint is holding it.
Yeah.
So if there was like a piece, for instance, that was popped out and it could have been hanging off the side there, holding on to some glass as well, and the rest of the window would have been up. But that would have definitely told me that this happened very close to this area, because that would have flown off during the travel, especially with how many freaking speed bumps are in this area. Like, not just in that apartment complex, but on every road getting there. There was speed bump galore. So if the driver's side window was shattered during, driving it out, which I don't know, it looked like he was wiping it, didn't he? The guy on the Chevy, looked like he was wiping it out. I don't know, but it does look kind of jacked up in this corner. It could be a reflection too, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a reflection of that. What was that, tarp, or the tarp even?
Yeah.
Because you can see the I think on the reflection you can see the I guess the words of the shirt.
Oh, you think it's this? It could be a reflection of his shirt. Could be.
It might be, right?
It could be.
I
don't know if you can capture a reflection from this side.
From that angle, right?
Yeah, of that.
I don't know.
That's weird. Could be. I don't know. It looks weird. It definitely does look weird. But there doesn't appear to be any like splatter or anything on this on the passenger window. And I can't say that's not what that is either. You see that right there?
Yeah. And we also, like I said earlier, we don't know what caliber
Yeah.
firearm was used. I mean, if it was a smaller one, I don't know if it will, exit the body or the head, the cranium.
Yeah. I don't know.
I thought that back window was a lot more tinted, but it ain't, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
It might be slightly.
Yeah, for certain angles, it looks super dark.
Yeah.
But from this angle, you can see right through.
Can even see in here. Can't tell what's in there. It doesn't even look like it's occupied, but
yeah,
this definitely has to be before they removed,
the
bodies. You can kind of see the seat here. So Matthew isn't in this seat at the very, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
It's just a sad thing, man. Just kind of how old this little girl was. She was 18 years old, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. About to have her baby. 1 day away, man. 1 day away. Like,
yeah,
it's heartbreaking, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, she was supposed to be induced the next day, so she was gonna have the baby the next day, and it's heartbreaking, man. It's been weighing heavy on me, man, because me and my wife just had a baby not too long ago, and I have a daughter that's 16 years old, so she's not too much of a difference between this girl and my daughter's age. So I don't know, maybe it's that, but this thing, it just bothers me,
Yeah, cases like this, unfortunately do happen more than we want to. But hopefully in this case they do find the person who did this, or at least figure out what exactly happened.
Yeah. 100%.
Because I know the both families, they need some closure, like I always said. And hopefully they get it as fast as they can.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, guys, if somebody has a tip and you don't want to get your information out there, you don't want to, contact police for whatever reason, and you feel more comfortable creating, a burner email or something, if you don't trust me, and just email it to us at drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com. We'll make sure that tip gets to the appropriate place. Yeah, I know that there are some people, especially like I said, if they're involved in, criminal activity themselves, don't necessarily like to go talk to the police. You can reach out to us and we'll make sure that information gets there. Especially if it's like, hey, I know the driver of that, truck. His name is XXX or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
A tip doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go and arrest the guy or anything like that. That's not how those work. That tip probably wouldn't even be admissible in court. Very similar to the IGG and the Bryan Kohberger case.
Yeah.
So what they would do is law enforcement would get that tip. They'd have to go and build a case on that person to see if it's actually true and investigate him. If they investigate him and they find out that the vehicle matches, and they look at some ring cam footage from his house and they match it up within the time frame of that vehicle leaving that house, and then X amount of time it's arriving at that apartment complex, and you can kind of put two and two together. That's just the guy. And don't forget his appearance. That's going to be able to kind of stick out there a little bit. No pun intended. So I just think that it's gonna, if you guys know who that guy is, let us know. We'll put it into the right place, and you don't ever have to say anything after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially like you said, like if it's just a tip, it has to be investigated, because even with the rumors right now, like you don't want to put out, not us, not you, but I'm saying like a lot of people are saying, oh, it's this person. That's dangerous for that person,
Oh yeah,
it's dangerous,
Yeah.
especially if it's drug related. That's dangerous. Like to point out of someone specifically, you don't want to do that, because like they could come back to you as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's kind of like why we haven't really pointed at anybody about anything either, because we don't know, and if we knew, the police would know, and somebody be arrested, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just kind of like in the Bryan Kohberger case, where, or even in the Delphi case with Richard Allen, somebody usually gets arrested. It's probably somebody we had no idea who it was or had ever heard of who they were up until that point. You know what I mean? Not everybody that is capable, or not everybody that committed this crime was hey, hold on a minute. Does that also look like a mark to you? It could be old, but kind of weird. I saw that.
Mm.
I mean, if there was another, I don't think there was another vehicle parked here, but if somebody was parked here facing the other way, it could have taken off pretty quickly. I don't know. I just noticed that caught my eye. Apologize for that. But yeah, you're right. In those type of situations where you bring up the wrong name, I mean, people are upset, people are hurt. We can take these families out of it. If somebody took the life of one of my children and somebody pointed in a direction to someone and it made sense to me, I might end up doing something I'd regret at that point. And, you don't want to be responsible for something like that to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for us. We went about an hour and a half today. I appreciate everybody that has joined us. I appreciate all our new subscribers. We went over 40K. It's been a goal of ours for a while, and we finally broke it. I'll say thank you to all of you guys that helped us get there, all our members, of course, all the mods.
Hell yeah.
We'll have a members only show here pretty soon. Probably it might be this weekend. The Steelers play on Saturday now, so we might do it on Sunday. Who knows? But keep tuning in. Like and subscribe. You got any final words for everybody, Jaime?
No, just want to say thanks to everybody. Hopefully this year treats us a lot better. Especially for me. But what's it called? Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a nice night. And if any updates come up, we'll be here.
100%. If not, we'll see you guys on Wednesday.